I fear AI art. I fear what it will do to creative industries, what it will do to the human race, and I feel like everyone around me is underestimating it, and it enrages me slightly. I feel like I'm going a bit crazy. It's not going to be a goofy toy for weirdos on Twitter that produces shitty-looking results forever. Technology progresses, we haven't forgotten that, have we? Every flaw and imperfection, every signature trait that makes AI art stand out now, makes it look fake, or soulless, or obviously different from human-made art, they will all be ironed out eventually. It may take 5, 10, 20, or 50 years, but it will happen. Look how far AI art has come already. There is no way that it will not become completely indistinguishable from human-made art. And that scares me because our society isn't run by artists. Most people aren't artists. They won't care about whether something was made by a human or not. They'll just care about what's cheaper and what looks better to them. And so once AI art does become indistinguishable, it's inevitable they'll undercut every single creative role on the planet. People will lose their jobs and their livelihoods. So I see you laughing at a crappy AI-generated video full of mistakes, dropping a snarky comment and moving on with your life. And I don't think that's going to age well. We need to take AI art seriously. It's not just some internet movement that we can laugh into oblivion. It has the weight of the most powerful corporations in the world behind it. To dismiss AI art is to assume that it will never be as desirable as human-made art. To assume that it will never pose a real threat. But that won't be the case. That thinking represents a complete failure to understand the situation. AI art is going to be the most history-shaping development of the 21st century, I fucking swear to you. And it needs to not be underestimated if we're going to have any chance of combating the threat that it poses. Do you remember when everyone said AI art can't do hands, and then a few months later it turns out AI art could do hands? Yeah, knowing that wasn't useful in the long run. That was just a little jab at an infant technology that's going to grow up and bite us in the ass if we don't start taking it seriously and giving it real thought and attention, as opposed to coming up with little recognition tricks that only have relevance for a couple of months before the technology evolves past that particular flaw. And so just like that look at the hands tip for recognizing AI art, your snarky comment shitting on an AI-generated video isn't going to do anything to combat the threat in the long run either. I could say that we need to be building protections for artists, unions, legal provisions, legislation targeting AI art specifically, communities for artists where AI is not just banned, but actively combated, greater education on the inner workings of AI models so that they can be greater understood and differentiated and their future developments predicted. But truthfully, I don't even know if that will be enough, because the bigger root issue is in how we view art, how it's been reduced down to just a product to be consumed. And that is the type of thinking that will allow the distinction between human-made and AI art to be eroded and ignored. Because when you just view art as a finished product, nobody will care about the circumstances of its creation, or whatever person or non-person made it. That's already how capitalism gives media to us. So perhaps the bulk of the damage has already been done before AI art was even something anybody had heard of. What if we can get rid of that commodification and instill in the general populace the idea that art is not just the finished product? Instill in even the most non-artists of the non-artists that the background of a piece of art, the intent and the circumstances of its creation matter. Get people to ask questions about and to engage with what they see instead of consuming it at face value. If we all instinctively stayed until the end of the credits to see the hundreds of names scrolling by and to witness the sheer scale of human ingenuity that goes into making art that we often ignore, then AI art wouldn't stand a chance at all. That doesn't really seem possible under our current system, does it? So maybe the issue isn't even AI art at all. Maybe it's just consumerism.